Hey, what's going on? I'm Melanie Fiona, and you know I got soul.com. Keep it locked.
All right, so Melanie Fiona, you just came off the stage here, Summer Stage, New York City, and your shows, every time I've seen you, have so much energy, but talk about what it's like performing in front of New York City.
It's always a scary experience to perform in front of New York City, because New York they're tough, man. New York, they're the realists, some of the realists. They'll let you know if they love it, they'll let you know if they hate you. And I've been blessed to have some really, really great shows in New York City, and it was such an honor to say, yay, I've done a show in Central Park, which is so cool because it's so historic and so New York, and to have people come out in the rain and stay even through the rains till it cleared was really great. And I just wanted to put on a great show and just show New York that I love them and appreciate them so much. It's been such a big market for me. I always feel so much love when I come to New York. So to feel the good energy from the audience was it's always energizing.
You definitely did a great show, and the crowd was loving it, so it was great. And let's talk about your new album. You're releasing your new album, The MF Life, later this year. What's the progress in the album up till now?
The progress is it's good. The progress report so far has been really good. I've actually done it mostly, with the exception of a couple last records that I just went in to do with The Dream, and finalizing the album is pretty much what it is. And I want to make sure that on this album people get a real sense of what this album is going to sound like and be about, because I think that's important for an artist. One, for them to have an identity to fans, and for people to say, oh, I feel like getting that Melanie Fiona album because this is what I can expect. So it's been important. I've released 2 singles off the album so far, and I'll probably release a 3rd before the end of the year, before the album comes out. And I'm really, really excited about it. It just narrowing down the release date. I want to make sure that it's right. And to be honest, I don't really focus on first week numbers or anything like that, because my first album started off slowly, and within the last year it went on to be gold. So it's a real, I think it's a testament to the music that spreads word of mouth. And that's just what I want. I just want people to keep hearing it, talking about it, saying, you should go check that out. And I feel like I do. I have great fans that really love good music, so I want to make a really good musical album with them.
Okay. And as you mentioned, your first album was gold, very successful album. And what type of growth have you experienced between that album and this one that that's going to show on this album, would you say?
I think that I'm having a lot more fun on this album, because I feel that I've grown a lot, and I'm loving and embracing all the experiences, high and low, and good and bad, and great and terrible. But I think that that's the beautiful thing about life in general. So in living my dream every day and doing this, it's important for me to channel my growth and to show that. And also, not just to my fans, but to the producers and the people in the industry that I've yet to work with and yet to meet and gain respect of. So, it was cool to be able on this album to, now I've done a song with CeeLo, and then work with Jack Splash, who's the producer that I've been wanting to work with, for The Dream to reach out and say, hey, I want to do some records for Melanie Fiona because he knows who I am now. And, Drake, and collaborating with Drake and John Legend. And, it's really cool just to be able to say, I've grown, and I want to show this and share this with the world, and really just define who Melanie Fiona is on this album. And have people love it for the storytelling and the emotional ride that you go on, just like The Bridge, but it's just the MF Life now.
Cool. And the current song you have out now is 4 a.m., written by Rico Love. Can you just talk about how the song was created and what you were trying to do with it?
Writing with someone and working with a writer for me is a very personal experience, just because I pour so much of my emotion and my integrity into my music. So if someone wants to work with me or write with me, it's important that they understand where I'm coming from, and it's important that I actually feel what they're writing for me, because I have to perform it and live it and believe in it. And I did a few records with Rico, and he came back and called, and he was like, man, Melanie, I gotta smash for you. And it was interesting because 4 a.m. is such a real situation in my life. And so to feel like the writer understood who I am and my story and wrote a song about something that I've actually lived and experienced. I always feel like it was the same thing when I worked with Andre Martin on It Kills Me, I think like it's a recipe for success, because when you keep the honesty in the music, people love it. And they make it #1 records and get it Grammy nominated. They feel what you're saying. So, it's important for me to share my story. And And working with Rico is amazing. He's such an amazing producer and songwriter. And, you know, I feel like the sound of the record sonically is a good growth for me, and it's something that I feel very comfortable with and still allows me to sing and have people appreciate my vocal ability.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, it's just something different and new.
Yeah.
So, you know, I hope that people relate to who I am like they did to Kelsey as well.
Yeah, cool. Another person I'd like to ask you about is Tyrese, because I know he was looking for you to do some songs, and I interviewed him earlier this week, and he said you guys collaborated. So talk about what that whole experience was like.
It's crazy because he just reached out for me on Twitter, and then that next day I saw him, and we were in the studio, and you know, we worked on a song together, which is really great. I actually got curious about his album and see what's going on, but he was amazing. You know, Tyrese has been so talented and so versatile. Like, I remember when I was growing up in Toronto, he was in that Coca-Cola commercial singing on the bus.
Yeah. And
then, you know, now he's gone on to be this amazing, you know, singer and actor and writer, and, you know, now I'm in the studio with him, which is really cool. And it's amazing to just see for myself, you know, when people call me to do things with them, it's really humbling, and it's really, it's such a cool thing to be respected and called upon by your fellow artists.
Yeah, cool. Last year I had a chance to talk to an artist you came up with, Aeon Clark, and we were talking about, you know, how you guys came up out of Canada and all that. And he made an interesting point that he had to come to the United States, he felt, to really be successful. He couldn't stay in Canada and have the success he could have here. Yeah. You know, how do you feel about that whole thing?
It's real.
Yeah.
It's real. Ask Glenn Lewis.
Yeah.
Ask Glenn Cox. Ask Tamia. You know, and unfortunately it's a real thing. I love Toronto, where I'm from. I love my country, Canada. I would move back there in a heartbeat if I wasn't doing music. But to be there, it's just not as a developed market it is here in the States. It doesn't have the power and the drive and the machine behind it. It's still, I think, a little bit behind when it comes to that. But there is so much talent up there.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Drake, Justin Bieber, like Alanis Morissette, Shania Twain, you know, Avril Lavigne. There's so many people, Celine Dion. I mean, there is talent up there, but unfortunately, we all have to go abroad. And you know, Cardinal Official is one of my very good friends and one of the most amazing artists from Toronto that I know. And he said one of these things to everybody at his album release party when he finally released it on Interscope. It was his major album, and he said, "You don't become international by staying local."
Yeah.
And I think it's bigger than America. You know, it's what are your goals? Set your goals for yourself. And you know, I released my album internationally first before I came over here. So, you know, it is unfortunate, I think, from an artist standpoint. But when you can bring it back home and say, yeah, like every step helps, putting Canada on the map, and all the artists that are going to come after me. You know, I hope that they appreciate all the steps that we all took to cross the border to make it happen for the future.
Cool, cool. One last question for you now. You've done covers on your YouTube, you know, your Redemption song, and also you did like an Amy Winehouse tribute. Do you think you'll ever do a cover song on one of your albums?
Yeah, I definitely think I will.
Yeah.
I just respect music overall. You know, all different genres. I respect artists for what they create and contribute because it leaves a mark in history. And, you know, I have no problems and no qualms and no ego about, you know, covering other people's songs, really. And if you can get the approval for them to sign off and say, yeah, I approve, I like what you did. Yeah. I mean, that as an artist is like such a grand respect. So, you know, even a lot of the samples I used on the first album, The Bridge, they were homage to the Zombies, you know, to Frankie Avalon, and, you know, sad songs where I did Janet Kay, Silly Games, you know. It's important, I think, for me to always pay homage, and I love singing other people's songs just as much as I love singing my own. Yeah. And I think my fans love it too, so if that's what they want to see, sure, I'd love to do a cover.
Cool. Anything you'd like to add?
I would just love to say thank you for the support, and you know, it's been quite a journey for me, and I just encourage people, if there's one thing that I learned in this process, it is to really be in touch and in tune with yourself and how you're feeling, because, you know, sometimes people aren't going to ask you, how are you feeling? Yeah. So it's important for you to be in touch and in tune with who you are and how you're feeling all the time. And it's okay however it is that you're feeling, just as long as you're honest. So it's important to express that and to, most importantly, live your life every day. Much love. Thanks, guys.
Cool. Like